Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King. And today I'm going to be giving you part 17 of what if Naruto was told about the Uzumaki Clan in the beginning. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual. Share this to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, stay tuned for the rest of what ifs coming your way over Anime King 2 and Anime King 3. Remember if you're new, yes, you heard that correctly. I indeed have 3 channels, Anime King, Anime King 2, Anime King 3, which I post what I find every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and support, and yeah, without further ado, we need to begin this new episode. Start the intro. So, the last time we left off, Naruto visited Hiruzen, as he was disguised, but still he was wearing the Uzumaki crest on him. Timur didn't understand why bother hiding herself then, wearing that clan crest so proudly, as he told her the significance behind it. Despite her anger towards him, there was just something. It pissed her off, but yet she could not deny that she still felt something for him. After he was gone, she made her way, as Shikamaru was in her village. After the war, what Naruto said, Shikamaru told them that they can be the liaison between Konoha and the Sun towards Uzu, as Naruto had asked for her personally. She wouldn't tell Shikamaru that she met with Naruto. Perhaps she would tell Gaara, yes, because he was there for her when she was in her darkest moments. But it wasn't anything really special or important. He had just came here to talk to her, normally. We then had a small time skip as Onki and the Raikage was meeting up. As Onki told them about Torasuke, the man had placed some sort of seal on her, as she was useless when it comes towards fighting now. Onki was pissed off, as he wanted to lead the charge immediately, but neither of them trusted each other. The Raikage didn't know if Onki would stab him in the back, or Onki did not know if the Raikage would stab him in the back. The both of them were wary against each other, as they did not know what to do, but they came up with a solution. They will fight this war to the end. But neither of them seemed to be trusting each other still. When Naruto appeared in their camp, they were surprised that he would just show himself like that, as they attacked him. Oniki and the Raikage come to realize that the boy, he was toying with them. Yes, he was basically toying with them. He wasn't fighting hard. He was just moving around and testing them. He then walked away when he was done. They realized that they could not take him lightly anymore. So with that, they gathered their forces, 1,000 men first, to march towards Hiruzen. They had to subjugate the city, so that they could pass through supplies and get their warriors towards Uzu without any interference. But they were stopped by Nagato, who was using Tendo. Him and Konan alone stood in front of 1,000 ninjas, as Naruto appeared to watch the spectacle. As King Sasuke could not go back to Onki and told him that they were sent back because of 2 shinobis alone. So with that, they led the charge. It is then that Nagato showed them the power behind the Rinnegan. It was a massacre, as they bombarded the forces down to the last man. They wiped out the entire 1,000 forces like they were nothing. We then skipped to Konoha. Sasuke was having a peril. His eyesight was vanishing. He had overused his eyes despite Kakashi's warning. Tsunade told him to get some rest, that she would try to find a way if she could work around the sickness. But she didn't know because that was genetic. But she would try her best. But Sasuke's eyes were in no position to overuse anymore, and he had to get some rest because he was going blind. And the strange thing about it was no one knew where Itachi body was. But Jiraiya had a feeling that Naruto was behind Itachi body being taken. He didn't know why, but he had a feeling. But they will soon find out. So yeah guys, so basically that's what I left off. You guys can Switch across the playcheck of yourself so it's the beginner's new episode. Oniki had to throw his entire plan through the window. Kitsuki had returned, alone. Yes, Kitsuki had returned alone, defeated. Now, he had to target the hidden ring as well. He cannot take this route, because it was too dangerous. 1,000 men wiped out by only 2 people. The hidden ring cannot be a priority right now, said Oniki. But they're dangerous, said Kurosaki. She had a sour, pissed off look on her face. There was no winning with the seal on her that they could not remove. It sealed away her chakra. She was useless in this time of war, and that angered her. Damn it, if that bastard never appeared that day in Tanzaki town, they would have never met. But they did, and now she was in a useless position. It didn't matter that she was free, because it was a cruel freedom, because she was worthless. 1,000 dead is a lot, Oniki said. Yes, they're dangerous, but right now we're not after them. We cannot risk another loss like that now, until we meet Uzu. We need to deal with Uzu first before moving to them. We will lose more men if we go after them, Kitsuki said. Yes, he could agree with that. But I think I saw the Emperor. I'm not sure if it was him, but I think I saw him when I was escaping. Oniki frowned deep and angrily. There has always been a rumor that the hidden ring was connected with Uzu. Regardless, we now know that they're like Sasuke, and they're very dangerous. We will make a plan for them. But if they're connected to Uzu, they might make a move against us, Kurosaki said. Possible. But it's better if they come to us than we go into them. Should we try to search for Daedor? He's a member of the Akatsuki. Maybe he can tell us something useful. We will probably meet them in battle. There's no use looking for them, said Onki. We also cannot afford to multitask like that. The ones who destroyed us are powerful, and I just saw Naruto firsthand. He stood before me in the Raikage as if we were his peers. He wasn't even bothered by Ace's speed. He's going to be another dangerous opponent, and he's still at Jinchuriki. Is Han going with us? Onki nodded. It will be a mistake to take both Jinchuriki to the war. We will take one and leave one behind. But they will only move when it is safe. I have already made 2 mistakes so far because I did not know. The next one will be a massively costly one, and I want to avoid that. What about my situation, said Kurosaki. I am stuck with Taijutsu and Kinjutsu with the way things are. I have already sent a message to Kumo, requesting their help. I have also sent one to Konoha. I doubt they will help. But we don't have a choice, Onki said. What was he thinking anyway? The Uzumakis were most comfortable playing with Fuinjutsu. Just looking at the seal, you could see that it was work of masters. The thing was complex, twisted. I do not doubt your Taijutsu skills, but you cannot be in the front lines. You will only be a burden if you get involved. During the fight we will capture one Uzumaki and have him release a seal, Onki said. She knew those words were true as she turned to her father, Kitsuki. You should get treaty before you move, she said. As she turned back to her grandfather, what route are we going to use? We will move in 4 groups and move to the land of canyons and mushrooms. But we will be forced to step into the land of fire. Konoha will not be happy with the war going on in their backyard. In the last war, the Sand remained neutral, but the Kazekage stood at his border threatening anyone that will enter his borders. I hope Konoha doesn't follow the same path, but they might out of self-preservation. They cannot remain so still while removing their country. No reasonable person would just stay there while someone is fighting in the back of their house. Should we send a few people to try and infiltrate Uzu? In this stage of the war they might be stretched thin. That could work in our favor, Onki said. Remind everyone that they should absolutely avoid those 2 Akatsuki members. They will just get slaughtered. Meanwhile at the Sand, it was finally happening. Gaara thought that with everything moving so slow, it would take a while for the war to happen, but it was finally here. And given that their first route was stopped, Gaara knew the next possible situation. We are closer to the Earth country. It wouldn't be out of the picture for Oniki to send his force here to try to use our drones as battlefield. But we will stop him. We will use the same means that father did. What about Uzu, said Temari. The stone is sending a bigger army than anyone anticipated. Uzu is not a shinobi village. I want to send you there, Gaara said calmly. This time, at least things could be different. I have written a message. I want you to deliver to him. Isn't it dangerous to be moving around now, she asked. It is, Gaara said, but I still need you to go. You don't have to worry about your safety. I will send Baki and some others with you. They will return home once you have reached a wave. You can ask the Emperor to help you return home. I'm sure by then that Stone and Kumo will be all over, making dangerous moves. Are you sure that you'll be gracious enough to send me back, Temari said. She still didn't know what to expect from Naruto. He was an unreadable person after all. You want to sort out your feelings with him. If he refuses, he doesn't care for you. Since it will be too dangerous to return, request to stay until we make plans to retrieve you safely, said Gaara. He once said I was a better person than he was. I didn't get it then. I always thought that he was a pleasant person. But you know him better than I do. She shook her head. I thought I knew him, she said. I don't think there has been any changes with him, said Gaara. There was just a lot that we did not know. But I think personally wise, there was much that we missed. Of course, I could be wrong. Tomorrow hope that you were not wrong. When do I leave? As soon as you're ready. Meanwhile, at Konoha, it was war, alright? There was no stopping it now. 1,000 shinobis were all killed by 2 people from the Hiruzen. It is Konan and Nagato, no doubt. Naruto had said to be seen at the end, said Jiraiya. Shikaku did not find this surprising. Given his confidence, someone must be there with overwhelming power that Naruto's banking on, other than himself. Oniki is stubborn but not stupid. He won't try to pass through the Hiruzen again. He will use another route to avoid them, but high chances are they will end up being followed. The Hiruzen will not just watch them go to Uzu. The numbers are high, said Kakashi, and they will be spread into different groups. Will Uzu really survive this? Turning to Kumo is another matter. The numbers are immensely outnumbered for Uzu. That airship, said Shikaku. It's probably for this purpose, to bombard the enemies with air attack. Both Kumo and the Stone are obviously going to move into the Fire Nation to get to the wave. No doubt there will be some ships moving to the ocean, but the land movement will be going directly through our country, Sasuke said. I will be willing to stand at the borders to stop any advancement that would leave them without any access for the land. Just boats and ships to get to Uzu, said Kakashi. We will be stopping their invasion, and I don't think they will be pleased with that. This has nothing to do with Uzu. It's about protecting our borders, Sasuke said. I could care less about what happened to Uzu, but we cannot give them the idea that it is our right to march right into our country. Regardless of how it looks, Sasuke's right, said Tsunade. But you cannot go out, not now, not in your condition. It's not that bad, Sasuke said. I know that. But Kakashi will lead our forces towards the border. Are we gonna stop them? No, said Tsunade. Stopping them means a confrontation, and we will be dragged into the war. But we still cannot overload the issue. I don't want this village to fight a war that we have no business in. We won't engage them, but we will give them a passage and a time frame. Once passed, we will close the gates. Shikaku smiled grimly at that. That would be like we're assisting them. But it is unlikely that Uzu would make them reach a wave. Remember, they have built a lot of infrastructure there, along with their bridge. I doubt they will let them go there to destroy everything. What if someone turned towards us to attack us? We're going to respond, said Tsunade. We're not going to be a pushover, even if it's Uzu. Like I said, no village is going to push us around, she said. Sasuke had no complaints about this. He just didn't like that you be kept in the shadows of things. Meanwhile, at Kiri, perhaps it was because Mei hadn't been on a date in a long while. No one had asked her out in quite some time. So that she asked Haku to stay, so that they could talk over dinner. She was the reason why Haku was late. He was not like the Emperor at all. He was indeed handsome, but he was a kind, gentle soul. She shook her head. Was she comparing them? She had no interest in the Emperor that way. But she was curious. She smiled warmly at Haku. I hope this doesn't make things awkward. I haven't been out in a long time. I just want to remember the feeling, she said. Haku shook his head. Had he ever been out with a woman? Never. Not when he was with Zabuza. Not when he was with Uzu. Naruto has been pushing to make a personal life, but he never really found the time. Well, that was not it. He was just never interested in forming a relationship like that. It is fine. But I'm certain that Naruto wouldn't be pleased about it, Haku said that smile. The Emperor had expressed interest in Mizukage, but he was surprised that he hadn't hit on her already. What makes you say that, said Mei. Well, the first time we came here, he asked personal questions and seemed rather interested in you. Though knowing him, it could just be for pleasure. Is he a pervert? Haku would laugh before shaking his head. No, he is just particular about what he likes. And it's rare that he doesn't act on what he likes. Interesting. Tell me about him then, said Mei. I know he's cold and rational, but that can't be all it, right? One hardly knows what is in his mind. Well, I don't think anyone knows what he's thinking, said Haku. Cold, yes. But he can't speak honestly and be warm at some moments. But it's just not a lot of those moments. He seemed cold because he ignores his feeling and go off statistics. I think I'm there to make sure he understands that He cannot do that all the time. So he's not a completely cold-hearted emperor. How about you, said me? How did you get to serve him while you're so kind? You don't call him the emperor like the others, just his name, which means that you're closer to him. In a way, yes, I speak for him. I represent him. He said what I say is what he say. Anyone disrespect me, disrespect him. As how I got to work for him, well, he chose me for my kindness. So, said me, if I flirt with you, does that mean I'm flirting with the emperor, she asked. I don't think that applies, Haku said. So, shall we talk business? I have to return by tomorrow. You'll burst the sea by night. It can be rather dangerous, these waters at night, she said. Don't worry, I will be using a different method, Haku said. I spoke with the feudal lord, but he's still unmoved. If he continues to make dangerous move against Wave, I'm afraid Uzu will respond, and it won't be pleasant. No doubt they will remove him from the picture. Said Mei with a frown. What do you want me to do? Show him the benefits of working with the Wave. You have a good relationship with them, and the partnership has worked well. You should be able to convince him to see the light. And if I can't, she said, if reason cannot work, you know force will be used, and that will affect the relationship between Uzu and Kieran. Mei sighed if it was Naruto. She would think that he had another movement behind him, but it was Haku. And she already knew the Water Lord movements. Uzu was not the enemy here, it was a Water Lord, with his actions against the Hidden Wave, who hasn't troubled anyone at all. Meanwhile, on a secure island, why are you doing this? Was a question asked Naruto as he threw the stone shinobi in the cell. This was an infamous prison. This prison was different, it had no warden, no guards. The seals were the warden and the guards. These people cook for themselves. If they play with their allocated food, they will starve. There was no mercy, they don't deserve any. This was a place to punish criminals, not to make them happy. Some would see the sun once more, but some would never see it again. They would die in here. The prison itself was underground. Thick mist covered the island, you could not see anything. The mist also confused your senses. Naruto's eyes looked towards the man. You are a spoil of war, he said. I thought I should test how things work here. The seal I branded you with keep you in the cell on lockdown times. When it is not, you'll be able to move around the entire facility. However, no movements at night. If you leave your cell, you will regret it. Even if you hear someone screaming and calling for help, ignore it. He then threw a key towards the man. This is a key to your cage. Lock it when you're asleep. As Naruto turned away, the man unlocked the cell as he tried to get out, but he slammed into an invisible wall. What the hell? There's a barrier, said Naruto without turning, that activates on certain hours. If someone tried to come in, they will be able to enter, but you will be able to leave. That key is to keep things and people out of your cell, should there be a malfunction in the seals. If you lose it, make sure you retrieve it. You don't kill someone. If you do, you'll be terminated as well. After walking for about 30 minutes, he was finally able to get out of a thick mist. As he was now outside, the ground underneath his feet cracked as he blew off with a propeller of speed using an air blast. As he landed down in the middle of a forest, in front of a large rock, he placed sand on the rock before pushing it in as he stepped inside. And entering, he went down and down and down. He finally arrived as he pushed into the third door. It was a library. Karen was behind a large table with a number of papers in front of her. Husband, she said as she looked up. You arrived earlier than expected. I'm not early. I was very clear in the letter I sent you, he said. Karen glanced up fully. What day is it? Naruto sighed as he walked and stood behind her. He placed hand on his shoulders, massaging her shoulders, before leaning down and kissed her cheek. I missed you, you know. She snorted. You're right, she said. Why must you always doubt your husband's love for you, dear? Have I not been loving and supporting to your dreams, he asked, while he still continued to massage her shoulders. She closed her eyes, leaning back into the touch. You have been supportive, but I don't know about loving. I think you have been happy to see my back so you can fool around in your bed. Naruto smiled. And I was thinking that you enjoy being around here, then being around me. She shrugged. Who knows? Maybe that is true, she said, as she turned her face upwards. It's good to see that you're in still perfect condition, dear. Am I allowed to touch you, he asked. Since when do you ask for permission? Since you nearly beat my hands off. That because I said no and you kept on insisting, Karen said. You are allowed to touch me, I can see that you have been keeping your hands to yourself these days. Hitting a rough patch, as Naruto leaned his head down, as he captured her lips in a slow, passionate kiss. After a minute he stopped. Nothing like that. I've just been saving myself for you. Don't flatter me with cheap lies. I know you have another wife, she said. Don't say it like that. If it wasn't because there was a snake somewhere in here wearing glasses, I would say I was a little turned on. Even if there was no snake, I would tell you to turn it off, said Karen. Naruto straightened up. You are as cold as ever, he said. Kabuto was at the entrance, but Naruto said nothing to him. Yoshino has found someone that he loves, and he wants us to meet her. That is why I've come here. Just for that, Karen said with a frown. I thought there was something important. This is important for Yoshino, and it's important to me. Besides, I think it's time that you return home. War has started. I have no interest in it, she said. I'll come back when the war ends. Naruto sighed, but I'm still not leaving here without you. How serious are you, she asked. I'm willing to drag you while you take in the stream, Naruto said, with a straight face. I'm sure Kabuto will be able to breathe easily, without you being around here. Are you saying that I'm overbearing, she asked. I didn't say that. Please go prepare yourself. I'll be talking to Kabuto and then we can leave. She stared at him. Fine. As she made her way. As Kabuto spoke up, I didn't know that Karen was your wife. I knew that Princess Koyuki was. That was how you were able to get technology from her. I really have no interest in playing some spy game with you, Kabuto. My personal life has nothing to do with you. I just want to know about your results, said Naruto. I saw that you have plenty of Sharingans locked up. I asked Karen for a pair to work on them, but she wouldn't give me any. For what purpose? Orochimaru and I came to the conclusion that the Monkey Sharingan is the second step of the Sharingan evolution, and the third step is the Rinnegan. But you have to have both Senju and Uchiha genes to awaken it. Kabuto didn't see Naruto's face change at all. You're not surprised by this. It made perfect sense. Both Senju and Uchihas are descendant of the Sage of 6 bad sons. But people wouldn't conclude that, especially those who didn't believe in the Sage, Kabuto said. My clan know a lot of things, and so does the Bijous. Who first came up with the art of sealing? It was the Sage. We are also relatives of the Senju. I would like to have access to that knowledge. Don't be greedy, Naruto was quick to say. So you're saying that it's possible to artificially recreate Hagoromo and achieve his power? Yes, said Kabuto. Are you interested? A little, said Naruto. But I'm more interested in Hashirama cells for their healing powers. I'm afraid I can be a little bit reckless in battle. When I get too excited, and I need a power to cover that flaw. You must know there are dangers of using those cells. They can consume your entire body, or they might end up killing you. Who do you think you're talking to, said Naruto, as he released a wave of chakra that shattered the table and the chairs. As Kabuto fell back, as the chakra was frightening. Do not compare me to Danzo, or your weak experiment subjects. Kabuto felt like his heart was gonna burst. It was not because of fear. No, it was excitement. Naruto chakra was so powerful it could keep you rooted in one place. He also knew that this place was warded with so much seals meant to control chakra, and the fact that Naruto could release so much chakra with the seals activated, that was just beyond incredible. I need a simple DNA to test your body to see how they react to the cells. Of course, if I had the time, and if you, I would place you on a table to conduct some experiments. You would love that, wouldn't you? What do you want? Just a bit of your flesh. I know that it will regrow. The Kyuubi will heal your wounds. It should be able to take care of a flesh wound. But I sense, while it go that far, it will be killing your tissues inside of you. Naruto turned towards Karen. I don't like him. He knows too much. It's annoying me. A pity. I like him, said Karen. Why did you have to create all this mess, she asked. Naruto shrugged. I was showboating, he said. Time skip. About an hour later, Karen frowned. Why, are we using a ship? I wanted an excuse to spend time with you. She knew that he could just teleport them back to Uzo, but yet they were taking a ship. If only that was true, she said. You think I don't miss you, said Naruto. Maybe a part of you does. But I mean, the reason. We're using a ship. It has nothing to do with feelings. You have never taken the decision to satisfy your feelings, she said. At least I have them, said Naruto in thought. Admittedly, I think a part of me has lost my ability to feel. I think I've become too cold. If you lost all your feelings, I will seek divorce. I'm not going to spend my entire days with a man who cannot smile or feel happy about a damn thing. You prefer to use a part of your brain that think logically and ignore what your heart tells you. You have been doing it for so long, you don't even know how to stop anymore. They were right to say that a wife indeed know the husband better. In some cases, even mistresses will know the husband better than a wife. It all depends on who the husband reveal his true colors to, Karen said. You're also not a very honest person. I can accuse you of that much. I'm honest, said Naruto. No, you're not. You are a liar. You may not go on your own telling people lies, but it is what that you don't say that makes you a liar. You hide things and say something else. You let people believe things on false conclusions. I pity Temari, she said. You said you didn't know anything about her. Naoki keep me informed, said Karen. And why are you even questioning yourself? Naruto Uzumaki has always been confident and never doubted himself. That has not changed. At some point in your life though, you just look at yourself and see where you stand. Yoshino was also talking about family. It got me thinking about certain things. She looked at him with a hard stare. Why? Are we using a shape, Naruto? She asked. As she turned her head towards the far right. Your senses are sharp as ever. I can't believe you can sense enemies that I can't even see. We are bait. I had the ship travel yesterday with some people to seek some attention from some troublemakers in these parts of the ocean. Karen shook her head. They will be upon us in an hour or less, she said. You thinking about your family now? What have you been thinking about with Koyoki? She wants children, and I thought that you have been trying to knock her up. She's not getting any younger, and she also needs that ear for our country. You have always known that you were going to give her that ear. It was part of the marriage agreement after all. It appears I can't have children of my own, said Naruto. I would believe that if we didn't already examine you, she said. It's different. Koiki child will be her child. The child will not be Uzumaki. But your child will be our child. That's the way I see things. You're a flawed piece of human, you know that, Naruto, she said. Well, I decided to marry you, knowing that you might be as cold as hot cold ice. That doesn't make me feel better, said Naruto. When have you need someone to tell you? To make you feel better. You really don't like to invite people in. We'll have to heal those emotional scars that the brats in Konoha gave you. You're not bad. To those close to you, you always show love. Even Koyuki cannot complain. You're mentioning her a lot, said Naruto. Am I? Something bothering you? No, said Karen. I just don't particularly like her. Naruto sighed and not getting involved. Just wake me up when your prey arrive. You're gonna knock now. I couldn't sleep last night. The ghost of my mother was haunting me. Karen laughed. If you're going to sleep, I'm going to go inside to sleep as well. I'm going to lock the doors just in case. Ever since Kabuto arrived, I've been very busy. I hardly get enough sleep. And I'm not going to let you get any sleep tonight. Karen groaned. Why is it whenever I'm home, you're thinking of getting on top of me? I just love you that much, he said. I bet you say that to all the women you sleep with. Have some faith in me, will you? Said Naruto. She did not respond. As Naruto closed his eyes, an hour later his eyes snapped open as he was surrounded by 4 men. Bandits that were messing with his ships. Robbers that he couldn't allow. Sir, to disturb your nap time, your majesty. As Naruto's eyes went down towards his throat, it was a bleed against it. I must be really out of it. I wasn't enjoying my sleep in a week, he said. Don't move. We just want our goods and we'll be on our way. If you move, you will lose your head. Unfortunately, there are no goods. As Naruto whispered a few words, the man's hand got sliced to pieces. The blade fell in broken pieces. The man cried out as he clutched onto his stump, blood gushing out. As Naruto got up, it was only one ship that they brought. As Naruto grabbed the man by his face and threw him off board, as he crashed in the water and he started to sink. Jump, said Naruto. You're not worthy of me wasting my time on you. Jump now, he said in a deadly tone. The 3 of them quickly jumped back onto their ship, as Naruto jumped on top of the water. Wind style. Falling havoc, he said, as Naruto jumped down back towards the ship. As the air above the ship started to twist, as a storm formed right above the bandit ship. In the blink of an eye came down and smashed right through the ship, before pulling it down as the vortex was created, a whirlpool, ripped it and tearing it apart. Are you trying to kill us as well, said Karen, as your ship was being pulled towards the whirlpool. You're awake, said Naruto, as he waved his right hand, as the whirlpool slowed down. Karen steadied herself. How long until we get home? I'm getting sick of the ocean, she said. There should be more pirates along the way. If not, I'll have to hunt them down. I know their location anyway. Why didn't you just do that from the start? I wanted to show my wife how powerful I am, he said, as he walked towards her and held out his right hand. Shall we? She nodded before reaching out her hand, but he grabbed her and pulled her into a bridal style. Someone is feeling very happy today. I am, but I'm forced to run through the sea with you. The barrier around Uza has been erected because of our time. I cannot teleport straight to the compound, and I have not marked any other place beside the wave. Then let us go to the wave, she said. I don't want to, said Naruto. This should be fun. A test of my speed, chakra, and stamina levels. I've been getting lazy recently. Why can't you just create a clone and take me to the wave? She was cut off as he planted a kiss on her lips. Consider this a bonding moment, he said, separated. You're being uncool. I'm just gonna spend the night at the bar, she said. You know when you get home you're going straight to sleep, and I'm going to go to work, he said. Besides, I'm fine you getting drunk, but just know that I'm coming to pick you up and then abuse you, he said. I'll file a complaint to the council. I'm the Emperor. I'll threaten to disband it, he said. No, you have no authority to do so. The council represents the Uzumaki Clan. You're not the guardian of the clan. Well, I'll be damned, said Naruto, before he jumped on top of the water. Alright, my dear wife. Enjoy. The rushing ceased. Yes, your majesty, she said. You're mocking me, said Naruto. Time skip. At Uzo. Naruto opened Yujito's cell as he held out his right hand. She looked at it for a moment before taking it. The both of them were gone in a flash as he appeared in a tall building. This was Uzo, she thought to herself. The place felt disconnected from the outside world. Perhaps it was because of all the seals. She took in a fresh breath. She really missed the sun. She missed the light. She missed everything about being inside. Being a prisoner was no fun. But who could she blame for this? She was a Kunoichi who failed her mission. Your chakra is still sealed, said Naruto. She glanced on towards the street where everyone was going about their life. There was no problems. I didn't think that you risked anything like that, even though I'd probably not escape. I would cause some damage in my attempt. You are a confident Kunoichi, but you don't strike me as cool enough to get innocent people involved in your battles. You would simply transform in these areas and threaten those innocent life. She wouldn't answer his question, as she did not look in his eyes. But she did speak, not knowing that he would get the answer to her. When one is backed against a corner. True, but there are limits, said Naruto. You cannot be as that cold-hearted woman. She would kill thousands of innocents just to escape and get what she wants. Well, that's not hard to believe. Kurosaki was indeed harsh. Why am I out here, she asked. Naruto sat down and motioned for her to do the same, which she did. I just thought that it might be good for you to get a breather. That aside, I have a proposal for you. You'll probably reject it, but I will still propose it. I'm not going to betray my village, she said. I won't ask you that, said Naruto. I said I want you to be comfortable. I don't want you to be miserable. If you're willing, I can get you a room in a hotel. You can live there until the war ends. Just think about it. You don't have to give a response now. Temptations. Perhaps he was trying to make things easier for her, to like this village even more. That is very generous of you, she said. Sarcasm, said Naruto. I will address it in a way. I am not always generous. I don't always do things for the betterment of someone else. I'm offering you a choice. Take it or leave it. Any other hidden reasons, she asked. Well, if they're hidden, I'm not going to tell you, he said with a smile. We have already made an encounter with the hidden stone, and of course, we annihilated them. The bigger forces will be moved in the next days. Onki and A has made a truce. So it begins, she said. Do you want to go and fight for your village? Naruto asked. This might be treacherous, but if Kuma and the stone come here to fight this village, they will be plundered. They will destroy everything and kill every innocent people, down to the last man. I think it is better for me to be away from such people. You have a conscience, that is good. They're not going to get into this village. No enemy force will get in this village. This village has to be empty, and I have to be long dead for that to happen. Time skip. Karen was surprised. People might think that Naruto was bad, but Yoshino was worse. He was crafty, he was a genius, and he was also slick. But in battle, Yoshino was a toddler compared to Naruto, but still, the man was smart. I think you're having some unpleasant thoughts about me, Karen, said Yoshino with a smile. It can't be helped, said Karen. Are you going to introduce us? Be nice, dear, said Naruto in a measured tone, with a smile on his face. I would like for the both of you to meet Miyuki, said Yoshino with his hands on Miyuki's shoulders. She was a slender woman with clear, crystal eyes. She had a rather large cleavage, which made Karen a bit jealous and envious. She had an innocent smile, a beautiful, pure look in her eyes. Naruto Uzumaki, otherwise known as the Emperor. This is my wife, Karen Uzumaki. A pleasure, your Emperor, said Miyuki. Her voice was calm, sweet. The pleasure's all mine, said Naruto with a smile. He was not expecting such a beautiful woman to be in Yoshino's hands. I was positive that you already knew her, said Yoshino. Naruto shook his head. You know my half-blood is not wanted by those cold-blooded vampires. I don't play around this side of things. Time skip. So you have met her before, said Karen, as Naruto was sitting on the edge of the bed, in their room. In a bar, but we just spoke, said Naruto. And yet you said you hadn't met her before, said Karen. I was denying seeing her naked. I am sure that is what he was asking. And after all, I have met every Uzumaki in this village, said Naruto. She bit him on his right shoulder. You talk about seeing another woman naked while you're in bed with your wife. That's a turn off, she said. I'm not a masochist, you know, said Naruto. But I do feel very uncomfortable having two Yoshinos. Yet you were interested in having a good conversation with her, said Karen. I was studying her, said Naruto. But I feel I couldn't see what she had in her mind. I'm afraid that we might have a problem in the near future. Or maybe none. He turned swiftly as he captured her lips once again. As she wasn't wearing anything up on the top. As his hands went down, massaging her chest. As he broke the kiss as he felt her hands trying to get in his pants. Someone's happy today, he said. Just shut up and help me, she said. Well, really excited, said Naruto. Time skip. After the 4th round, Karen was fully satisfied. She had a smile on her face as Naruto held her gently in the bed. I'm still not returning before the war ends, she suddenly said. I did not expect you to change your mind. Hopefully, within a month you'll be back here with me though. Hopefully, said Karen. Are they gonna make you marry another woman? He shook his head. Not as things stand. We will see once things settle down. But I doubt it. It's not my duty to increase the numbers in a way. And you don't want a lot of children. I'm the one that has carried them for 9 months. If you can carry 1 or 2 for me, then we can talk, she said. I got married to a difficult woman, said Naruto. You're a difficult one, she said. Time skip. As Naruto was sitting on the sofa as Karen was behind the desk going through a few files. Come in, Naoki, she said. As Naoki entered, despite being a place that is terrible for a censor, your abilities have not wavered, said Naoki with a smile. I got used to it. Today, I'll be your boss. Naruto's given me all authority. Now, tell me what you have to say. Wait until I'm dead, said Naruto. Naoki, come, said Naruto. Disappointed, Naoki said. It wouldn't have been bad serving under you, Karen-sama. You flatter me, said Karen with a smile. As Naoki went and whispered something in Naruto's ear, Haku is back, but he brought a guest with him. He said he wasn't sure if you want him to bring her here with Karen around. He's currently showing her in the village stall. Speak up so I can hear you, said Karen. It is about man business, said Naruto. Do you really want to hear? Although Naoki had a beautiful woman with him last night, he could not get it up, said Naruto. If he has such problems, I'll take him back to the island with me. I'm sure Kabuto can work something out for him. I don't have such problems, said Naoki. Tell him it is fine, said Naruto. Once he's done, can bring her here. Naoki nodded as he left the office. So, you're hiding things from me now, said Karen as she stepped in front of him. Yes, we didn't have to sneak around and whisper when you're not here. But now that you are, we have to do things this way. I'll be leaving soon, she said. I need more money, or I'll leave certain things I need. Can't give you any, said Naruto. We are going through a war, Karen, and we cannot be wasting funds. At this stage, we're just leeching off the weak country. It is your war, she said. And it's my empire, not ours, said Naruto. You can speak to Yoshino, but imperial coffers are not going to give you anything. You're being stingy, she said. If you saw how bad the situation was, you wouldn't be saying that, said Naruto. What do you want to work on anyway? Shouldn't you be thinking on wrapping up your preparations, so that you can return back home? There's something I want to work on before that. Can I really leave Kabuto in charge? Can I really trust him, she said. We don't have to worry about him. He's gonna be careful. That is why we gave him a special seal. In the meantime, I have a guest to entertain. A woman, no doubt. Yes, the Mizukage. What does she want? She came with Haku. We will hear from her once she arrives. You have been very accommodating to her. If it was someone else, you would force things with her. Sometime I really wonder about your intentions, and if you really don't hold grudges the way you say you do. Kiri was in a bad state, and fighting them would be troublesome. Oniki and Raikage on the other hand, I don't really like them, and they need to be purged from this world for it to be better. Time skip. Hidden Stone. Oniki divided his men into 4 groups. 4 with 2,000 and 1,000 the other. Naruto made things too easy with creating a bridge from Uzu towards the wave. They would use that bridge to march straight towards the island. The problem was the intel that he received. Konoha was moving and so was the sand. That didn't surprise him, but Konoha moving was a bigger problem. Kitsaki, he said, your unit will move second. Akisaki will take the lead to the land of canyons. 2 units will force through the land of canyons and the land of mushrooms to avoid entering the land of fire. Always keep contact with both units, and don't move quickly either. Yes, sir. Now get ready to move out. Akisaki will be moving out in an hour. Kurosaki, I have a mission for you. And don't fear this one. If you succeed, we can hold the sand hostage, and Konoha to some extent. We could even have them turn against each other. It doesn't have to be anyone specific, but someone important, though. I'll get it done, old man. I failed last time, I won't fail this time, she said. Besides, if I fail this time, I will be buried in the desert, she said in a bitter tone. I hope it doesn't come to that, said Onki. Time skip. When Mei entered the office, she glanced towards the red head that was carrying behind the decks. As Naruto was on the sofa, he was reading something. She knew that he knew that they were there. Mizukage-sama, Haku said, drawing Mei away from her thoughts. This is Karen Uzumaki, Naruto's wife. Mei was surprised, and she did not hide it. This was the first time she was hearing something like that. She had multiple conversations about him and Uzu, but it was never mentioned before that he was actually married. She walked towards Karen and held out her right hand. Mei Terumi. A pleasure to meet you, she said. Karen's smile was not warm, but it was not cold either. The pleasure is mine, Mei-san. Finally, I get to meet the woman. that has my husband showing consideration. Mei raised eyebrow. I don't understand, she said. There are reasons why Kiri should be U's enemy. Reasons even I can understand. But with Haku being there, the trust that he provides in your village show how much he admires your work, considering that he can be careless and indifferent most times. I think that is something huge, she said. That is the first time I hear something like that, Mei said. Well, that is very considerate of him. Karen then got her feet. I'm going to talk to Yoshino about the money you refused to give me, she said. When I return, we will talk about me leaving. You're not going to join us, said Mei. Diplomatic talks are not my cup of tea, said Karen. As Mei then went over, as she sat down where Haku was. I didn't take you for the kind of person that would get married. Haku, what have you been telling her that give her an unfavorable image of me? I've only said pleasant things about you, Haku said. I just formed my thoughts based on our interaction and your appearance, said Mei. This is a quiet, lovely home you have here. The village itself is very peaceful. It's a pity the Emperor is not so peaceful. That wounds me, said Naruto. What do you see when you look at me, Mei? Do you see a man that is full of violent intentions? You look calm and quiet right here. This Naruto is completely different from the one that visit my village. I have my moments. Right now I'm at home, enjoying the peace while it lasts, he said. Mei was still confused about the war, because the war has already started, but yet this village was calm, peaceful, like there was nothing coming. Time skip, on Kumo borders. Understood, bro. A knew that D was just saying that so we could quiet him down. If it wasn't because I didn't need you to face Naruto, I wouldn't be bringing you along. He's that powerful, huh? Said B. Admittedly, yes. I'm not sure I can take him alone. B was shocked that his brother would have made that. As he couldn't believe it, as he turned towards C, his chakra pool is unmeasurable. I got sickened by trying to analyze it. He was fighting Raikage and Kishikage without even putting too much effort into it, and he wasn't even using the power of the Kyuubi. B only smiled. He was going to be partnered with his brother, and who could stand against them? Well, he had to see the Emperor face to face. Time skip. Neri appeared beside Naruto. Kumo, start to move, your majesty. As Naruto was on his throne, there are 8,000 of them coming through land. There's also 90,000 strong from the stone. As Naruto settled up, the numbers were coming. It was like a tidal wave. How many plans have we planned so far, said Naruto? You have a solo one, your majesty. And also, you and Nagato has one together as well. And we also are going to lay the trap once we find out the correct route. Said Naruto. Go get Haku for me. We're going to be launching a surprise attack to make them think that we're barbaric. 5 minutes later, Nier came back with Haku. We're going to battle, Haku. Now? Haku said. Yes, now. Why does it seem like you're afraid of battle? You're the strongest person in this village besides me. If you get nervous, everyone else get nervous. I think he's more concerned about killing, your majesty, said Neri. We're going to war to fight people that will butcher and rape and pillage this village. And you're concerning yourself about their life. Your conscience and moral values are what make you good. But when you go to war, there will be no hesitation. Haku was silent for a few moments before he nodded. Is it an all-out attack? No, we're just going to greet them. We can't make them think they can move around freely. 30 minutes later, from where he stood, there's thousands of shinobis. They look like ants. He left Kiri before the war started. But Haku knew the brutality. His clan was wiped out in the Civil War. Here he was now, ready to use his abilities to kill other people. They might look like ants, but they were indeed people. They were floating in the sky. Breathing was not easy. Naruto was using his control of the air current to keep them suspended in the air. Couldn't we have chosen a different side to view things? It's getting uncomfortable, being up so high. Naruto shrugged. You seem fine on the ship. This is not a ship, and if you lose control, we're going to fall in the hands of the enemy. It won't happen, said Naruto. They might have sensors. I didn't want anyone sensing us. That aside, the wind years are very strong, and there's something I want to try. What do you want to try exactly, Naruto? Haku asked. As the way Naruto said that, it sounded rather dangerous. A natural disaster. Stay on my back. If you don't, you will surely die. As he flashed through hand signs. Kiss of the wind god, he said. He then held his hands out. Release your eyed storm, said Naruto to Haku. Meanwhile, Samui halted as she felt a spike of chakra. She looked around but she could not see anything. Where was this coming from? She was not the only one feeling it. The whole unit came to a stop as they felt the overwhelming force. It's coming from above, said Karui, as she looked up in the sky, as Samui looked up in the sky as well. A dark cloud was gathering. What the hell is that thing? It's definitely not natural. Be on your guard. Snow? Samui held out her right hand, It was indeed snow, but it was ridiculously cold. She had been in snowy conditions before, and a single drop did not produce such cold. Something was wrong. Something was definitely wrong here. The breeze started to rotate. "Everyone, get out of here," she shouted. But only those close to her heard her. A tornado formed within seconds. It was so powerful that when it hit into some men, it shredded their body within seconds. As they started to move, the tornado finally took its form fully. As it touched down onto the ground, it did not pull things towards it. And the reason why it shredded those men was because it was releasing something. It was spitting snow. The tornado tear into the earth before it sucked in all the debris and fired them out. As they were covered in ice, hundreds of the men got swallowed. They were spat out as ice corpses, frozen to death. Hundreds of our men was annihilated so quickly. Something then dropped from the sky like a bomb. Her men quickly surrounded the area, despite them shivering because of the cold weather. As she saw Naruto inside, he was on one knee with a black-haired person behind him. As the black-haired person seemed to have some difficulty breathing. "Samui," said Naruto as he recognized the woman, "I didn't think that you would be one of the leaders." The groups formed into several groups. Knowing that they could not just all out attack him because it was their Jijulke, and he could slaughter them, they would go in one by one. This was bad. "Are you going to stop because it is me?" she asked. Her tone was flat, but she was praying to Kami that he said yes. She was Yujizo's friend, and she wondered if that will factor into anything. "You're not good at jokes," said Naruto. "But say I do depart, would you go back to your village?" Don't give out the instructions," she said. She had to jump back as the next second he was in front of her. The shinobis in the waist time as they charged, swinging their blades, but it was stopped by a mirror of ice. Amoy appeared on Naruto's left side, as his blade whipped through the air, but a feet crashed into the side of his face by Haku that knocked him away. "I wish you wouldn't launch the enemy so stupidly," Haku said. "Are you insulting me?" said Naruto. "You're putting yourself at risk, and making me work hard to protect you." "It is training," said Naruto. "There's nothing that trains shinobi instincts than a real battle," said Naruto. Haku sighed. Well, as they saw the rest of the ninjas getting themselves ready to charge, they would not hesitate to come after them. They did not understand. They had a sight on order to not attack Nagito. But the real person that they should be fearing was him right here. But yet, they didn't know that much, did they? But guys, will be in episode right here. If you want the next part to do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on the bell notifications they posted. Remember to share all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, stay in tune for the brand new episode coming over Anime King 2 and Anime King 3. If you're new, yes, you heard that correctly, I indeed have 3 channels. Anime King, Anime King 2, Anime King 3. Which I post what I fun every single day for you guys to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and support. Remember to comment down below and tell me if you're new, I'll be replying talking about all of you. So yeah, I'm all for now. See you guys over in Anime King 3. Peace.